The Nintendo eShop is a powerhouse spanning literally thousands of games. This is great if you want options, but it can be a little overwhelming when trying to find hidden gems these days. The shovelware doesn't help either. I mean, look at this! You don't want that. But we're not here to talk about the issues. Instead, I want to share some eShop games that I did find on the Nintendo Switch in 2024. It's been too long since I did an eShop video. And in the first half of 2024, I found a series of indie games that'll certainly help you pass the time. Some of these games I bought with my own money, and some were given to me by the devs and publishers. Don't worry, I'll let you know who, and my honest thoughts on them. To be upfront, these will be more like first impressions than full reviews, because I only got a few hours with each game. So let's stop wasting time and let's talk about 10 eShop games for the first half of 2024. First up, Lil Guardsman. You play as Lil, a young girl in a fantasy world who takes over for their father as the Guardsman, while he goes off and gambles at Goblin Ball. Such a responsible father. Lil's got big problems and even bigger hair. What are you hiding in there, girl? There's a massive cast of characters trying to get into the gate, each with a zanier scene than the last. Each one is trying to make it past the border, and it's your job to figure out if they're telling the truth or not. Interrogation, investigation, and tools are all available to help you make the right or wrong decision. Interrogation is pretty straightforward, but it gets interesting when the tools are involved. There's the standard stuff like metal detectors and whips. There's even a truth serum. Wait, truth serum? Dang, this kid doesn't mess around. You do your best to let the right people in, and who you let in will determine not only if you make it to the next day, but also the fate of the town. Some of these include old ladies, magic users, goblin blood bank smugglers, and singing psychopaths. Her high notes are as crazy as the blood on her dress. But don't worry, if you do happen to let the wrong people in, there's a time travel device that'll help you fix your mistakes. Yeah, this game is kinda quirky. The dialogue and voice acting shine, and there are multiple times it made me laugh out loud. Not to mention, the art style has the Saturday morning cartoon vibe that I really appreciate. All of that, along with the great writing, makes this game a lot of fun. The writing is great, the characters are great, the overall lighthearted attitude is great. Lil Guardsman is a great start to 2024 in the eShop. And you'll want to let it pass the gate on your Switch. Get your cards ready. The next game is Balatro. Man, what a bunch of jokers. Literally, there are a bunch of jokers in this game. Balatro is what I describe as a roguelike card game, where you play poker. At least I think it's poker. I'm not really sure. I don't play card games. Last time I played solitaire, I wound up in the underworld and had to ride ponies. Balatro has unique joker cards that influence each round in different ways. Each game loop has you attempting to get as many chips as possible, with the ever-shifting set of rules and requirements. You use the cards you're given to advance each round, attempting to get pairs, straights, flushes, and even a full house, complete with Danny Tanner and Joey Gladstone.
Cut it out. Quit it. Come on, knock it off.
All while gaining new cards in the shop or unlocking special jokers. Some cards give you special abilities too, which can help multiply the chips you earn. It's a true card roguelike at its finest, and it's certainly addicting. It easily taps into the one more round mania that comes with games like these, even when the chips are down, literally, all in an attempt to get that high score. Also, I love the look of the game itself. It makes me think of the slot machines you see at a casino. So bright and colorful and appealing, but almost having a somewhat sinister undertone to it. I like it a lot. The card designs are a lot of fun too. And there are over 150 different jokers with different perks that will help you out. In a sea of roguelikes, indie, and AAA, it's cool to see one that takes a classic card game and makes it fun and replayable. It's a great game to have on every once in a while, or spend all night playing, one of the two. Give Balatro a try, and see if you have the heart of the cards. Next up is a new adventure with a familiar, and somewhat dated, art style. Arzette, Jewel of Faramore. Special thanks to the devs and publishers for getting me a copy of this game. So remember those classic CDI games?
My boy.
Well, Arzette, Jewel of Faramore is a spiritual successor of these games, but in a good way. Arzette, developed by CDI Games, get it, takes the iconic and hilarious animation styles from old school games like Legend of Zelda, Faces of Evil, and Wand of Gamelon, and puts it into a new game, featuring our titular hero, Arzette. The evil Dimer has escaped his prison, and it's up to Arzette to travel the land and defeat his minions, and collect the pieces of the Jewel of Faramore. Arzette will meet tons of interesting characters along the way, in her quest to one day defeat evil. You can see the love they put into it with all the callbacks and references. The most noticeable thing about this game is the presentation, where every cutscene is in that classic CDI style we've grown to know and love from YouTube poops. Some of these facial expressions are incredible and completely close up. Hey, have any of you heard of personal space? I love how weird they are with some of the colors. Honestly, I want some of them for my desktop background. The voice acting is pretty good too. There's a variety of talented performers, from seasoned voice actors to social media influencers, and even the original voice actors from Faces of Evil and Wand of Gamelon. There is a lot of love and references, from sound effects to mentioning things like the duck walk, to grabbing things and talking to people by hitting them with your sword. Even the mini game you can play is a reference to Hotel Mario.
No.
Yes! The game is also not unplayable. In fact, it's really good. You're hacking and slashing baddies in this 2D side-scrolling Metroidvania as you're going to each world. Usually you explore each level to get an item that will help you out in another level, and then you find an item to get you to another part of a different level. Or you can help out the villagers with side quests and things they want. It's a really unique Metroidvania that's a nice challenge. And oh boy, can it be challenging. There's a casual mode if you want to have an easier time, and trust me, some people might want to because it can get hard, especially since you can lose your health so quickly. Just not as quickly as the original CDI games. There's also the classic Metroidvania problem of getting stuck and not knowing where to go next. But other than that, I really enjoyed this game. It's fantastic. I even picked up a physical copy that I paid with my own money. If you want a blast from the CDI past, only Arzette, Jewel of Faramore, can defeat boredom. Like Swedish folklore and games about nature? Let's try Snufkin, Melody of Moomin Valley. Snufkin returns from winter and finds Moomin Valley to be completely changed. It's covered in signs, there are fences all over the place. What was once a sanctuary for nature is now an industrialized park. It's up to Snufkin to put a stop to the destruction while looking for his friend. You explore the forest, interacting with animals, helping inhabitants, and keeping bumbling police guards from making the situation worse. All with the power of music! This guy's a one-man band, I swear. This game looks gorgeous, especially the nature setting. Every once in a while, it will pause at a bit of beautiful scenery and allows you to really take it in. It reminds me a lot of a storybook fairy tale, which makes sense seeing as it's based on actual folklore. Character design is faithful to the material it's based on. It blows my mind that they just took a cultural story and just made it into a game. From what I can tell, the game does a lot to be as true to form as possible. The gameplay style can get a little all over the place. 1 second you're platforming, then you're getting chased, then sneaking around in a stealth area. Fortunately, with the cozy style, everything is very low stakes, so you can enjoy the experience and relax while watching something cute. Despite its cuteness, it addresses some good themes of nature versus progress, and rebelling against authority. Seriously, Snufkin does not like the cops and what they do at all. I could see him at protests for sure, but to be fair, all you have to do is just remove the signs and they just leave.
You can't just leave.
I wish that worked in real life. The game is not perfect. It's a short game that I sometimes feel focuses more on looking pretty than game progression. But if you're into folktales, beautiful views, and a cute platformer, check out Snufkin, Melody of Moomin Valley. It'll be music to your ears. Speaking of nature, anyone in the mood for gardening? Next up is Botany Manor. Botany Manor is a puzzle game where you interact with a bunch of interesting plants. You play as a botanist, Arabella Green, in her Victorian-era mansion from the 1800s, and you must study all sorts of plants in order to publish your research. In this first-person adventure, you must explore the mansion to find clues on how to turn these tiny seeds into beautiful blooming flowers. all while finding out the history of Arabella and her botanical career. This game looks beautiful. The mansion and all its greenery is absolutely stunning. Sure, the Switch may not be the most detailed with graphics, but for a small indie game, it truly is one of the loveliest entries on this list. The way you solve puzzles and grow plants is creative, as you don't simply water the plants to make them grow. No, that would be too easy. Some of the things you have to do include raising and lowering temperatures, exposing it to smoke from certain types of wood, putting the plants at the top of a tower, defended by a dragon. Okay, not really, but would you be surprised? Even flashing a camera with certain oils while taking a picture of it. How some of these plants grew naturally in the wild, I'll never know. What's next? Plants in space? I mean, I guess Pikmin, but it's really creative with how you grow these guys. I also like how you organically find info about Miss Green and all the people she's interacted with in her story. This is usually done through letters that were delivered to her. You see her struggle as a female botanist in the 1890s, a time where she wasn't taken seriously because of her gender, and yet Green did it anyway. Heck yeah, girl power! Although I will admit, some of the writing is a bit on the nose with it.
We do not at present and have never admitted women to study at the college. Botany is a serious science conducted in laboratories and lecture halls.
It's a short game for sure, as it only can take a few hours to complete, which can make the price point a bit expensive for some. However, for the short time I played it, I think it's a genuinely beautiful game, and I enjoyed it. If you're in the mood for a cozy puzzle game about gardening, Botanical Manor will certainly grow on you. I know this is a common problem with games, but this one you won't need glue for. Let's talk about Sticky Business. I remember playing the demo for this during Steam Next Fest, and it made me so happy to see it come to the Switch. In Sticky Business, you run a sticker shop, designing your stickers and sending them to customers. You create these stickers through a bunch of different templates given to you, where you combine them and change their colors to create new and interesting designs. Once you're done, you print out those sticker sheets and sell them to hopefully satisfied customers. There are a lot of tools that you can use to make these incredibly cute and wholesome stickers. As you grow your sticker shop, you can unlock more designs and colors, and even stuff like glitter or paper to make your packing all adorable. Another thing I like is the letters you get from customers. A lot of times you'll get emails saying why customers want your stickers. Some are for family members, one is for a teacher, and even one is for someone grieving about a lost loved one. They give you these little snippets of their lives, and you get little glimpses as you continue to expand your sticky sticker empire. It can get addicting to sell stickers, make a new design, and then reach the end of the day, only for you to just do one more day and repeat the sticky cycle all over again. I may have an addictive personality. Plus, look at the designs I made! I love these! Look at this dapper whale! I named him Oswald. My biggest nitpick is that this is a game designed with a mouse in mind. It can be a struggle to move it with the Joy-Con sticks or a Pro controller. Not impossible, but it just doesn't flow as much. Also, I will admit in the PC version, you could take your sticker designs and post them online. You can't do that on the Switch due to technical limitations. So while I may love this game, the Switch might not be the best home for the experience, but you should get it on PC. Still, if you don't mind all that, Sticky Business is a great cozy game that will surely stick you to your Switch. Dark Souls can make you crabby, but are you ready for Dark Souls as a crab? It's time for another Crab's Treasure. This one took me a while to talk about, but this is truly a unique Souls-like. You play as Krill, a hermit crab that loses their shell to a loan shark and must now wander the ocean to get it back and pay off their debt. Krill will face a sea full of dangerous foes and use the trash around them to make replacement shells, each providing unique abilities and actions. The game, like any Soulsborne, is incredibly challenging, and you'll find yourself fighting bosses and enemies of all sorts again and again to make your way through the gauntlet of the game. The dialogue is really funny with some great satire that really goes at how the ocean is polluted, materialism, and more. Another Crab's Treasure can be a hard game, but in my opinion, it's a great entry point for anyone wanting a point of entry to a Soulsborne title. Why do I say this? Because you have options to make it easier. You can make it so you don't lose your microplastics. You can make it so you take less damage. You can give your character a gun. You can increase the shell's durability. Wait, did I say gun? That crab is packing. When I played Another Crab's Treasure for the first time, it ran pretty rough on the Switch, especially with the cutscenes. The performance issues show in a game like this, and while patches have come out since its launch day, it is something to consider. I was still able to play it okay, but it may not be the most optimal version. Still, it's a wonderful indie title with a lot of personality and a great challenge too. Another Crab's Treasure is certainly a diamond in the rough. Okay, anyone in the mood for a post-apocalyptic corporate landscape? Let's try out Corpo Nation, the sorting process. Special thanks to the devs and publishers for giving me a copy of this game. In Corpo Nation, you are a new employee for the Ringo Corporation. You sort genetic samples in exchange for a job and living quarters. You earn credits based on your performance, and everything requires those credits. Not just rent and food, but furniture, stuff for your computer, and even the games you play cost a good amount of credits. Microtransactions, am I right? You go through each monotonous day until you discover that not everything is as it seems, and there are things this corporation may be hiding. Soon you are contacted by a resistance ring, and you're forced to balance bleeding into the work society while seeking out the truth. The atmosphere in this game is fantastic. For a pixel art game, it truly does make you feel tense every chance it gets. I always felt on edge when playing this game, which makes sense because someone's watching you. Always watching you. Always. Each day, you are given different conditions for sorting your genetic samples, from using shapes to patterns to numbers, and it can pose a challenge to get them all done in time, especially since, like Sticky Business, this was kind of made with a mouse in mind. Again, it works, but it's a little awkward. But no worries, you can make things easier in the options menu if you want to. I know I needed to in order to progress. The game has a lot going for it, but I will admit, it's a bit of a slow burn. You're going to spend a lot of time in the corporate world if you want to progress through the story. The game portrays the daily life of a worker and how awful it is well. A little too well? After I played it, I felt exhausted and had to take a long nap to sleep away all the capitalistic ideas. It's not for everyone, but if you love games about corrupted capitalism and this lifestyle, this is sure to push your buttons. Give Corpo Nation a shot. And don't forget, someone's always watching you. Work hard. Time to solve mysteries with a fine feathered friend. Duck Detective, the Secret Salami. Special thanks to the devs and publishers for getting me a copy of this game. No, this isn't a Gravity Falls joke. Or maybe it is. But this is a real game where you play as a duck solving mysteries. You visit a bus station and interrogate all the workers in order to solve the case of the Salami Bandit. So grab your magnifying glass, trench coat, and an infinite amount of deductions, hey, the game made the pun, not me, in order to figure out the culprit behind the mystery. Your goal is to look for keywords found through clues, whether it's certain dialogue, signs and objects, or computer files in the office. Once you do, you piece it all together to uncover the truth. Can you find out who is responsible for all the trouble caused by the missing salami? I really like the design of this game. It gives me Paper Mario vibes, and you can kind of tell at least the art style, and probably the humor, is inspired by it. The comedy of this game is off the charts, and has made me laugh multiple times. I love this witty humor. The character designs are great too, and the voice acting is top-notch, with each line being expertly performed. You may even recognize some of the actors from the amazing Digital Circus.
I was a freshly divorced duck. Not able to pay next month's rent.
Did someone say something about an insect collection?
Like others on this list, the game is pretty short. You can beat it in 2 to 3 hours, and I was able to get it knocked out in one stream. But for as short as it is, it was still extremely entertaining, and I was grinning from ear to ear while playing it. If you want a quirky story with a mystery-solving Mallard, Duck Detective is on the case. And finally, our last game on the list, Moonstone Island. In Moonstone Island, you play as an alchemist who moves to a new town with their chosen monster companion. You must stay on the Moonstone Islands on your own for 1 year, while meeting locals, growing crops, crafting items, and exploring caves inhabited with monsters, taking care of the crops, meeting villagers, and wooing them too. But the main thing that sets Moonstone Island apart from other farm sims is the monster card fighting mechanic they included. You can collect certain monsters throughout the land and use them to fight others with card-based mechanics, using the cards in your deck to provide your pets with moves, from attacking to breaking an opponent's shield and other special moves. The daily grind of growing your alchemist tent is fun enough, but being able to go through dungeons collecting a bunch of weird monsters like they are Pokemon adds a nice twist to the otherwise oversaturated genre. Like, look at this! I have a beach ball! My companion is a beach ball! I want to slap him! I really enjoy the designs of the creatures you collect, and it filled me with excitement whenever I saw a new one to add to my collection. There are even some new things to the farming genre, like giving a percentage system where you increase your hearts with someone based on how risky the conversation is. You could just chat with them, or you could flirt with someone with a 10% chance of it going right. It never does. Out of all the games on this list, I may have played this past the few-hour mark, and I'm still playing it at the time of the recording. It's one of the best farm sims I've played in quite some time, and I really think you should play it too. Fly your broom and get your alchemy table ready, and see the magic of Moonstone Island. And so, here are 10 eShop games for you to check out for the first half of 2024. Whether you know about them or hearing these games for the first time, I hope these games put a smile on your face and keep you occupied before the next big game on the Switch comes out. I like talking about these eShop games, and I might talk about more once we reach the latter half of the year. Are there any eShop games that you love that I missed? I always love finding new indie games to try out, so let me know in the comments below. Enjoy these gems, and I'll see you all next time. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to see if this crab has a license for that firearm. I knew I should have bought the bulletproof shell. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you like what you saw, hit the like button, comment, and be sure to check out my other videos too. Special thanks to all these amazing people for helping me out with the video. I couldn't have done it without all of you. Also, an extra special thanks to my Patreon patrons, including Mantelferox and Savacom. You help make every video possible, and you all mean so much to me. If you'd like to join our Patreon, the link is in the description below, along with my Twitch and Instagram. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good night!